What's going on? Boys, thanks to our patrons and Fiverr customers, arm yourselves, life stuff. More of a grab bag this time. Update on the dream journaling test, a Christmas idea, and then some gaming thoughts. Regarding the test, we're waiting on one person's results. If we don't have them by tomorrow, we're moving forward. 2 people dropped out, but the numbers are still good. I haven't reviewed the content yet. I want to go through it all at once. Formatting on the file we'll be sending out is all done. But once we receive that last set of logs, all the participants will get early access so they can review what they and the other participants have accomplished. There's a lot here. And then we'll do the video and analysis. For distribution on the PDF, I think the best way to do it to keep everyone happy and everything in line will be to put the logs in the video so people can see everything now, and then use the mailing list for more interested parties while also laying the groundwork for what we'll be aiming to accomplish in 2025. But for now, some basic thoughts, stuff I scanned while I was formatting things and dealing with people while getting this all set up. It was interesting to see the patterns just in the application process. All the types, or all 3 types, acted the way I have come to learn them to act. INFJs mirror the mood, ENTJs tried to have a lot of personality, and the INTPs acted the way I know them to act, but with them I was also surprised. Pretty much across the board, intro with something blunt, snarky, or dismissive, and then all across the board do consistently good work. The INTPs in attitude and action were the most uniform, and that's what surprised me. And it actually made me feel a bit better about the human condition. I'm used to dealing with INTPs on a contentious level, I think because when you're in TI mode and you encounter another person in TI mode, the instinct is to clash sabers. But, learned here, when you're taking on more of a TE type of role, they play well. And I'm guessing that's because you're accommodating their thoughts rather than competing. And I'm also not used to dealing with INTPs, well, maybe dealing is the wrong word, outlook similar to mine. Comforting in the sense these ideas or operators with these ideas, if not working together, maybe shouldn't work together, at least not alone. If someone paints my brain across a hallway one day over these ideas, then they're going to need to do a lot more killing. Because while these specifics might be different, that spirit is not. There are other very similar threats out there, and I'm left wondering how many there are. And right now I'll bet once I start moving into more of an organizing role, you'll see more vermin come out. And I say that with affection. Now, briefly, the Christmas idea. I'm strongly considering running a DayZ server for a month or 2. Again, to test the waters. And try to figure out more of this community management shit. And if or when we go through with this, I'll let you know. But for now, why DayZ? Few reasons. You don't need an excellent PC to run DayZ. In fact, you could probably run it off a decent laptop. I was considering Rust because that's another community type game, but I don't know what happened or when, but Rust's system requirements went up quite a lot. DayZ's minimum requirements are still not that much. It's accessible. and in terms of accessibility, DayZ's been popular forever. I'm willing to bet quite a few people already own it. A point against accessibility, holy shit, why is DayZ $50? I forgot how expensive it was. I remember paying that price when I first bought it and being majorly asshurt about it. That's an annoying price tag. However, we are closing in on holiday sales. But then, why not an MMO? Those are exhausting, and I like privacy. If there's going to be serial killing going on, then I'd like to keep it within the family. And then, why not something like Minecraft? That's hyper accessible. I know boomers who enjoy playing Minecraft. The answer is mood and mods. Winter in my area is miserable and frightening, and I'm looking for a game that suits the season. Now, I'm terrible at DayZ, and I stopped playing it because I couldn't get anywhere. Every single time I would play DayZ, it would be an hour of running around, finding one can of beans and 3 bullets for a gun I don't have, and then getting shot from someone I can't see. And that was annoying. However, I really enjoyed the walking around part. And there is a mod list I'm looking at. And from what I've read, servers with mods on Steam are not that hard to set up. As in, you don't have to have the mods installed before you go onto the server. You find the server you're looking for. It will link you to all the mods you need to download and install them. They're all on Steam. Workshop is great. So less headache. And then the mod pack I'm looking at, there's a lot of stuff to do. Like setting up your Skyrim or New Vegas to have those message board Radiant quests. You hike through nice scenery, you stress, you put together some shit, maybe you get shot, but less likely because the server is private. Which isn't to say we want players being less sociopathic. That seems like it's part of the experience. However, fewer of them, so you have a little more breathing room. And then doing a bunch of goon shit. A perfectly lonely and miserable experience suited to a lonely, miserable season. But not necessarily, because the mod pack looks like it makes cooperation a lot easier for people who do want to cooperate. So that's all another thing that is probably going to happen within the next few weeks. I will keep you posted. And now, for fun, with the updates and junk out of the way, some simple gaming thoughts. I really miss small-scale multiplayer. When I was younger, the boys and I played Halo Reach quite a lot, and Far Cry 2, but we'll get to that. And the only 2 games I've ever been really good at, not good at games, Halo 3 and Halo 4. But we played Reach the most because you could do the most with it. Especially for, again, small-scale multiplayer. Custom games involving 3 friends. And I think part of my interest in asymmetry and competitive stress came out of Halo Reach, our custom games. I put together a game mode and a map called Swatto. The map was constructed mostly in that Blood Gulch Canyon, but the game mode. The idea was, again, asymmetry, designed for 3 players. 1 player got a sniper rifle, I think the Magnum, and active camo. Then on the opposing side, there was the Scout with the DMR, and I don't remember what he might not have had a sidearm. I don't remember a sidearm sticking out with that one. But the DMR and Sprint. And then the second player got the assault rifle, the plasma pistol, and the bubble shield, but Reach's bubble shield also had a healing factor, which was neat. Came in handy for the game mode. So the idea is the sniper excels at long-range combat. Can hit people from further away than they can hit him, and he can kill them in one shot. It might not be one shot. I'm pretty sure Reach had that dumb no damage breakthrough mechanic on the shields, but I think some things overrode that, those being explosives and the sniper rifle, because I remember the whole idea was he could kill people really quickly from far away, but not really that great up close. So a specialist versus two similar but different jacks of a couple trades. So the quote scout sniper, DMR can do mid to long range, the medic can do mid to close range. The duo needs to find and kill the sniper. I don't think we put too much emphasis on kill count. It was one of the things I really liked about games or gaming back then, especially in customs, was it was more about the experience of doing something fun rather than some numerical bullshit. And I'm now beginning to appreciate the 30-year-old boomer memes. Halo Reach, now that was a real game. And maybe I'm looking back with rose-tinted lenses, but I don't think I am. Because that, or those experiences, embedded upon my heart an itch that I have not been able to scratch for a long time. And I remember the whole state of affairs being accidentally brilliant. So the map, we had the purple filter, of course. That's the go-to make it night modifier, which is so lame in hindsight, but it's so fun. Everything is just purple. And across the canyon were a number of different engagement areas, broken up with open space and sniper towers. Like, one of the areas was just a grid of cubes, not even a maze. But the idea was, if you're getting into a firefight or you're getting fired on, you run into the cubes, and they don't need to be complicated. They break line of sight, and because the, what's it called, the motion detector is off, it's a good way to disappear. On the far side of the canyon, where it opens up into the ocean, there was a huge wall with a sniper tower that took you a minute to climb up, but if you did, and the climbing wasn't complicated, you could get a read on the entire area, but it also made you vulnerable. Because the idea of this was not constant combat, both groups were sneaking around, trying to sneak in kills on each other. I remember there was a base with a bit of verticality. There were just a bunch of different zones you could push people into or out of. And if you were the duo, you had to be careful, because while these smaller sniper towers might not be useful to you, that sniper is almost certainly, or would be able to make more use of them than you would be able to, and there are a lot of them. But then the surprising stroke of brilliance that I'm still proud of to this day was the obstacle tower. It's a long, difficult jumping puzzle. And at the beginning of the match, when you go, it's all enclosed. So at the beginning of the match, if you go in there, there are jump jets you can get, and that makes, or they make, climbing a lot easier, but they are in limited supply. And if I'm remembering correctly, they were loud. As in, if somebody rushed and chose to use the jump jets, then you would know immediately. And if you got caught trying to do the obstacle course, you would get sniped because you're vulnerable, or you'd get blasted. You have to do it quickly, and you have to time it correctly. Because I remember playing and always having these oh shit moments. As in, whether you're sniping or you're in the duo, creeping around, looking around for a while, realizing you haven't seen your opponent in some time, and going, oh shit, he's probably doing the obstacle tower right now and we need to get over there. Which is a perfect opportunity for an ambush. That's the way you wanted to play it. Or, on the flip side, you would have moments you would realize I could probably do this. I could probably pull off the obstacle tower right now if I really hurried. Do I really want to risk it? And it was usually worth the risk, or at least you would want to, if you didn't want to try to get it, then you would want to keep people from getting it. Because at the top, it's perfect. If you're up there, it would be very hard to get you down. You can see everything. Overshield's up there, the hologram is up there, which was another brilliant thing that I'm proud of. Because, or not proud of, I should have realized this when I was younger, but I didn't because I was a dummy. Hologram. The hologram. What a great armor ability that when you're a dumb kid, you don't appreciate the value of until you're in a game mode that is all about cat and mouse like this. Hologram always tricked people into giving up their position. Because that was the other thing. I don't remember if they used the same functions in later Halo games, but Reach's hologram, you could make it run, you could make it sit still, and you could make it sit as in crouching. And the entire game mode was about information, trying to get people to give themselves up so you could get them, or get the drop on them instead of getting the got dropped on. And I remember people getting really into it. Not just in our little friend group and auxiliary friend group, but floating around our high school. There was a guy, I'm not going to name him, but I remember that bastard's name. He outranked all of us because in Halo Reach, Warrant Officer took... I think I got out of Warrant Officer and into Captain at the very tail end of my playing Halo Reach. Anyway, if I'm remembering correctly, he had a black visor. I don't remember how he had his armor set up, but he blended into the background and into the rocks better than anybody else could. And when video games are your measurement of cool, that dude is peak cool. And it was all about being tricky and information and all that. Because the bubble shield for the medic, that's good for protection, that's good for healing, but you also have to risk or gauge, this thing is really large and bright, do I want to use this right now? Or is there a way I can use this to trick our opponent? And again, if I'm remembering correctly, I think in Reach, it may be in all Halos, if you get shot, it de-scopes you. So that was the medic's role, was to spray and keep the sniper from being able to scope. But then we took that concept into Far Cry 2 multiplayer. Now, I know in the last few years Far Cry 2 has had a resurgence, like people are just now realizing that's a great game, but I didn't play the campaign much at all. All of our time was spent on the multiplayer, which it's really frustrating that they took those servers down, because not only is that, if I could go back and have one multiplayer experience preserved forever, above all others, it would be Far Cry 2 multiplayer. Because you could do so much with it. We basically did SWATO in Far Cry 2. The difference being Far Cry 2's atmosphere is a lot better, without needing to paint everything purple, and the map editor is a lot better. And you don't have to create all the maps. There are tons of maps to do everything you could ever want. There were standard maps, there were mission type maps that I remember being a bit unbalanced, but they're there to make you feel like you're doing a mission. And then there were a bunch of escape rooms, puzzle maps. Hundreds of them. And Ubisoft got rid of all of them. Not even on PC. On Xbox 360. There were... people figured out how to do or perform glitches in the map editor to give you like barrel dispensers and do all sorts of weird shit. So not only would you get hip to these glitches and be able to use them yourself, which felt, again, when video games are your standard for cool at that age, getting hip to the glitches was... you felt like a genius And then the fact these maps were designed with these glitches in mind, it was the pinnacle. And you might argue later Far Cry games had map editors too, and they did, and I had some fun with Far Cry 4's map editor because you could do actual missions, NPC combat arena things, and that was fun. But the point, or what put Far Cry 2 above all the others, was how not crisp it felt. The entire game, down to the way you operated your character, felt eerie, not totally responsive. So, and that contributed to the SWATO vibes because you would have these huge maps, way bigger than, well, maybe not in terms of size or ground area larger than SWATO maps because Forge World was very large, but enough to have lots of little arenas and areas, and you had weather control, time control. So you design a map that takes place at night in the middle of a typhoon, and it looks like a devastated New Orleans, and it's huge. It's like an entire parish thing going on. And what you're doing from, let's say, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. is you and your friend are sneaking around this horrifying area that looks like something evil is going to come out and eat you, trying to kill your other friend who is a sniper, and he's very good at it. And unlike Halo, it's not always clear what you're looking at in Far Cry 2. Was that rain and wind and a bush blowing or a shutter blowing or something, or was that a person? And if it was a person, did they see me, and are they going to kill me in one shot? And then Far Cry 2 didn't have a custom loadout system. It had classes that you could upgrade. I think it was 1, 2, and 3 stars that would give you access to more weapons in that class. And in that version of SWATO, the sniper would be the grade 1 saboteur, because the saboteur came with a dart gun. And the dart gun is basically a sniper rifle that does almost no damage to the body but kills in one shot in the head and is very quiet. It's a neat weapon, and everything in Far Cry 2 was neat. But especially for what we were trying to do, that was very neat. Because the sniper needs to be more skilled in terms of marksmanship, but you're also not basically dead instantly if you miss a shot. And if I'm remembering correctly, the saboteur had explosives or mines or something. I remember there being something else that would fuck us up while we were hunting this dude. So, uber mind games. And I think in discussing all this, you can see why I'm attracted to the idea of DayZ. Lots of eerie, quiet time mixed in with mind games and occasionally intense strats and gunfights. The only issue being, with DayZ, it's on PC, so even though if you have a mouse and keyboard, you are supposed to be able to aim better, allegedly, other people can too. They're shooting better than you are. I like the control of a mouse and keyboard, even though I'm not the best shot. But looking back, I appreciated the restrictions of a controller, because I don't know, it was kind of expected to suck with your accuracy a little bit. Things you don't realize you'll miss until they're gone. And it's funny, because back in the day, Halo and COD, well, everybody, holy shit, everybody played both. But what we were doing with Halo, and then in a more advanced form in Far Cry 2, other people were doing in Modern Warfare 2. Custom games, developing or inventing their own game modes. And where you cannot set the rules in game, because you have a friend group who likes having fun, you invent the rules of the game and everybody follows them, cooperating to have more fun. And holy shit, I miss that. One of the things I'm hoping for when I'm 50 is I wish I were a numbers person to begin with. And I know you can do asset flip game shit right now, but I would really like, in my advancing age, to have an AI assistant help me rebuild the game of my dreams and then just enjoy it. And there are a bunch of games I'd like to make. Vampire got me into thinking about tabletop a little more seriously, but I stopped doing that because I realized I was spending most of my time constructing or homebrewing rules and systems instead of actually playing the game. And if I'm going to do all this work, why don't I make my own tabletop game at some point? But even that would be a smaller version of the shit I really want to make. It's all just crazy to me in hindsight how, putting everything into perspective, comparatively brief those stretches of your life are, but when you're younger, how impactful they are, and how unable you'll be to relive them or even experience anything like them again. I reference Goodfellas with that, and now it's all over. Quote, pretty regularly because I like that energy, or I feel it. Shit, now it's all over. Jesus, and then you had the original Red Dead Redemption. Well, Red Dead Revolver had cool multiplayer and good with bots, but Red Dead Redemption's original multiplayer, all the dumb shit you and your friends would get up to and invent, I'll spare you, but I've been thinking back fondly and digitally lately. Probably because all of these gosh darn Modern Warfare 2 shorts channels I've been getting recommended lately. God, I miss Modern Warfare 2 also. I liked Black Ops, but I didn't like it. I didn't like it as much as Modern Warfare 2. And Bad Company 1's campaign and Bad Company 2's multiplayer. Why don't games have soul anymore? Ignoring the fact, of course, they do have soul still, some of them. It's just that your time has passed, or at least that time has passed, and now it's all over. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't.